Hello and welcome to the morning show. We have Nilesh Shah, Managing Director at Kotak Mahindra AMC with us today, who will help us guide through the markets and where he sees the markets going ahead in the backdrop of the local and global developments. Welcome to the show, Nilesh. Let me start
Thank
by
you,
asking
Puneet.
you regarding the recent development in China with respect to Evergrande. Are the concerns laid to rest, or can the ghost come to haunt the global financial markets again?
So Evergrande is more of a China problem than a global problem. It's a serious problem for China, kind of their Lehman Brothers moment. However, with $3 trillion plus reserves, they are quite capable of managing it. There will be no contagion effect of Evergrande in global markets, except for temporary, setbacks or correction here and there. However, there will be consequences of Evergrande. China is large consumer of commodities. Real estate in China is substantial part of that consumption. With Evergrande, real estate will slow down, metal prices will correct, and metal stocks will see correction and consolidation at lower levels.
So is this temporarily over, or do you think that will it come back to haunt us again?
See, you can never expect sentiment of the market. If we were, let's say, at 15,000 Nifty, this news would not have been a big impact. At 17,500 Nifty, obviously there could be some impact. At 20,000 Nifty, it will have a bigger impact. So many a times market wants to correct, but needs a catalyst. And events like Evergrande can act as a catalyst.
Okay. So do you think that where are we heading in terms of the market levels then? Are we looking at 15,000 from here, or are we looking at 20,000 from here? Let's say over the next 6 months.
It's always difficult to predict market. In March 20, if you had asked me where will markets be, by wildest imagination, I would not have said 17,000 Nifty by September 21. So this is a market which is now fairly valued. From a fundamental point of view, corporate results are coming very good. Sentiments are positive thanks to opening up of economy as COVID cases are falling, vaccination is rising, and there is money flow coming from retail, HNI, mutual funds, insurance companies, pension funds, and foreign portfolio investor. And events like Evergrande are actually going to convince global capital allocators that they need to invest in India as a corollary, as an alternative to China. So when markets are supported by sentiments, flows, and fundamentals, every correction is an opportunity to buy.
So in terms of risks to the market, Nilesh, how would you rank the following? Surplus liquidity that has made the markets run up so much since March 2020. Sticky inflation in terms of India, or the retail investor frenzy that we've seen over the past few months.
So to me, none of these are risks. The inflation is coming. Brigade has already seen the inflation coming below RBI's target level. With correction in global commodity prices, that pressure is off. Number two, retail and HNI today are matured. For 18 months, they have made a lot of money. Leverage is non-existent in market. And we are not seeing all-in mentality, which we normally see during bubble or top of the market. People are still having skepticism about market. People want to invest when there is a correction. No one has thrown caution to the wind and getting fully invested by fully leveraging. So retail HNI also not a worry. In terms of liquidity also, it's not a worry. Our worry should be our fundamentals. God has given us an opportunity to narrow down gap with China. In 1980, we were equal to China. Today, they are 5 times bigger. They became manufacturer to the world.
Correct.
Now, in that 40-year period, we have become back office to the world. We have become pharmacy to the world. Now, we should grab this opportunity with both the hands and become manufacturer to the world. China plus one and production linked incentive scheme, if they deliver, we will be on the path to become manufacturer to the world. Corporate profitability will be rising, and liquidity all over the world will search for that growth in India.
But then, Nilesh, going back to the US-China trade war, such an opportunity existed then as well. So what is different now as compared to then? Or have we grabbed?
China is competitive, Puneet. Despite Donald Trump's crusade against tariffs, crusade against China trade surplus and China exports, the fact remains that China is exporting more post-pandemic than pre-pandemic, or in pandemic than pre-pandemic. They are competitive. They have machinery which works, and we need to leverage our strengths, like we leveraged in software, like we leveraged in pharma, in other parts of the world. And in the production linked incentive scheme, we are now focused on auto components, textiles, mobile phones, electricals, electronic toys, and so on and so forth. So we have to relentlessly go towards becoming manufacturer to the world, sector by sector, like the focus of China, and then we can hope to narrow the gap with China. It's a long haul. Today, China is way ahead of us.
True. Going back to the global setup again, Nilesh, we have the US Fed sounding off a taper, which is like sooner than expected. Do you think that the global financial markets or especially the equity markets, could now take a breather?
So from a valuation point of view, Puneet, if you see NFTs or cryptos or unlisted equity deals, there the excessive liquidity has created excessive valuation. I don't think so. In the listed market, we can say that kind of excesses are remaining. I can still take a screenshot of my computer and sell that blank thing as NFT and get hundreds of thousands of dollars. That kind of madness is not there in listed market. So even if Fed tapers, the first impact will be in NFTs, cryptos, unlisted equities, and then in listed market.
Okay. Do you think it's time for investors to actually now look at debt as an investment instead of equity? Given all the concerns, let's say valuation concerns, US Fed tapering.
Even in March 20, bottom of the market, debt was always an option. It never disappeared.
Agree, but then people went towards equity as an option to make a quick buck.
No, Puneet, I disagree there.
Okay.
Every investor must follow an asset allocation.
True.
Now, it is possible that in March 20, you will be overweight equity because it was cheap and underweight debt. In September 21, you will be equal weight equity as well as equal weight debt. So debt never disappeared from investment horizon. You should have exposure to equities, fixed income, real estate, commodities, currencies, and offshore assets.
Okay. So in terms of, let's say, a good portfolio allocation, what would you suggest? So if somebody has, for instance, 100 rupees to invest, what would be the portion in equity, debt, real estate, and gold would you recommend? In terms of
it all depends upon their risk profile, Puneet.
Sure.
Someone could be conservative, someone could be aggressive, someone could be average. It also depends upon their investment objective. Someone wants to buy a house in 6 months, someone wants to buy a house in 5 years, someone wants to buy a house for their kids after 20 years. Now, allocation will vary depending upon your risk profile, depending upon your investment objective.
Correct.
But broadly, I will say right now, this is time to be equal weight equity, not overweight, not underweight. It is time to be equal weight fixed income, but within that, be at the short to medium end of the curve up to 5-6 years. Okay. It is time to be overweight gold, but not with short-term horizon, with at least 3 to 5 year horizon. This is time to be overweight real estate, especially in residential real estate where city is developing. And it is time to be equal weight offshore assets.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.